very difficult, because the authorities reckoned that that's where anti-revolutionary stuff started, or in other words, the people that might try to topple them would get together over a drink, and they would try and plan something against the state. And probably they're right. The only thing is that in the pubs here, I've heard more seditious talk. What we were going to do. and after 3 or 4 pints, we'd forgotten what we were going to do. And the next day we had no recollection whatsoever. So it seems to me that the safest thing is if you want to stop revolution, is pour people into the pubs. Well, I am rambling this morning, but as I was saying, damned if you do and damned if you don't, because the government has, in some ways, tried very hard for economic reasons and probably political reasons to cut the length of lockdown as short as they possibly could, and it looks as if it's backfired. It looks as if it's on the rise again, and that we're going to go through another period. Whether it'll be locked down or not, I have no idea. But the fact is, it looks as if things are going to be in great disarray again come the autumn. And somebody was saying to me the other day, is we had a wonderful spring, and we had some terrific days, but we always remember that July and August was summer. Okay, so the sun was heading back south again, but they were still very hot because the sun had warmed up the earth. It had given the air a wonderful feel of comfort, and July and August were summer, and they're not anymore. It's normally May and June. We have wonderful springs, but it isn't spring anymore, it's summer. And one wonders if the seasons are moving, and whether, in fact, September, October, we'll start to see cool again. Maybe even snow by November. Who knows? But it doesn't seem that there is a regular season anymore at the moment, that they're all a bit mixed up. And the plants say that. They come out at the most peculiar times. Anyway, a bit of a ramble. What else? Yes. The great Russian is in the news this morning. The great Russian tampering with Brexit and with our elections and American elections and so on and so forth. And the conspiracy theorists are still at it. Well, it could be. I'm not saying it wasn't, but I know a lot of Russians, and I talk to them, and they don't seem to think that they had much to do with it. But the point is, on our Mirador Television round table, we asked the question, is the Star Wars going to trigger more wars? And one of our panelists, who is got good insight into politics, he said, well, it's all very well to say that the Russians tampered. And when we go through the old journalistic thing of who, what, where, why, the obvious question to ask quite often is why? Well, we would know why, just to further their own national interests. But in this particular case, what did they do? What did they do? And nobody seems to be saying anything about that. Well, it's a cyber attack, and they tampered, and they did this, and they did that, but nobody knows exactly what. And it reminds me of that bib that you can find for children. I don't know what I want, but I want it now. And people are shouting and screaming that, look, the Russians tampered. But what did they do? Well, we don't really know. That's good logic. Oh, come on, Keith. It's 19 minutes into this program. It's now 6:49. It's beautiful outside. Get up and get out. Yeah, don't miss the summer. It might end tomorrow. No, we're in for a little bit more of a heat wave, apparently. And that's very good. I'm very glad about that. Anyway, let's play Tango de la Noche, because a tango at this time of the morning, and this is by Wayne Jones. So let's listen to what Wayne has to offer. Oh, did you notice that little thing at the end? It was unplanned, but it was rather nice, wasn't it? They're talking about picnics. I've got more stories about picnics, but one of the nice things in Lewes, and I'm sure that Lewes is reflective of many, many towns, not only around the country, but around the world. And we have now nice places that you can sit outside and have a drink. We aren't great on that because we don't have pavements quite the way that they are in the continent, where people have been used to sitting out for long periods of time. But the pubs, my favourite pub, the Brewer's Arms, has not opened yet. It's family owned. It doesn't belong. It's known as a free house. No free beer, but it's a free house. And Kathy and Liam and Kevin, who own it, run a very, very good pub, and I know that they've been making lots of changes so that they can comply with the law and make their pub comfortable for those of us who were used to going there and will miss being able to really belly up to the bar. But they're not open yet. Sometime in August, I was told. So next month or next week, I shall check them out to see whether they're going. But another favourite of mine is the Rights of Man, which you can sit outside, and I have done, and you can sit on the roof, which I have done. And that's where I've actually, because I wanted a long, refreshing drink, I've discovered Krabby's, which is a ginger beer with alcohol. Ooh! I mean, I find it difficult to drink a drink without, and don't ever offer me water. Ugh. Well, I suppose I'd take it in the desert if I had gone for long periods of time without anything to drink. But Krabby's is a lovely drink, and sitting outside, enjoying the sun, watching the people go by, doing a little work, and sipping on this ginger beer is very pleasant. And I've checked out one or two other places. I call it Wild Bill Hickok's, and I think it's I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's just on the corner of the precinct, and it's a lovely restaurant. The food is excellent. They've got a first-class chef there. The waiters are very attentive, and also you can sit outside and you can have a decent drink. It's a bit on the expensive side because it's rather posh, but then everywhere needs a posh restaurant so that you pay a bit more. And next door is Fuego, which it was the first to open. It's a bit more like a canteen, but once again, you can sit outside and you can have a decent drink. I mean, actually, even in a canteen, you can't alter the wine that much. And nowadays, even the plonk tastes pretty good. So Fuego's okay. Food fairly standard, not quite prepared to order the way that the Wild Bill Hickok's is next door. I haven't been back to the John Harvey Tavern yet, but a pub called the Volunteer, that's open, and I understand the Dorset Arms is open. Haven't ventured down there. And the very interesting Gardener's Arms, that's been open for quite some time. Gardener's Arms is interesting because it's a pub. All you can get is a pork pie and a pickled egg. It doesn't serve food. It's just a pub, and it thrives. And it brings in every last different type of ale that it can lay its hands on. So the purists really have a field day, and it survives. It actually started, it's called the Gardeners, because it was a private house, and the bloke that owned it was a gardener, and he used to invite his mates in for a drink after they'd finished their gardening duties, and they sat and had a nice drink. And so eventually he did it commercially. Don't blame him. Done very well. But if you really want to go to a pub that's a pub and not a dining joint, the Gardeners is there, right on Cliff High Street. If you're coming to Lewes, that's where it is, and if you live in Lewes, you know where it is. And it's a very decent establishment, very nice place to go. Tiny, pokey, but a pub. So speaking of gardeners, I'm meeting in a few minutes, another hour, Alex Hoer, who is our gardening expert on Mirador Television. Is a super bloke, and his dog, Joey, actually Joey runs the programme. Alex is just there, just to lend a guiding hand. But Alex is a super bloke, and the one thing I like about him particularly is that he's a strategist. He's young, he's in his 30s. He knows where he's going. He's started to design gardens, and they are lovely, lovely gardens. And he takes great care and loves them and works with the owners to make sure that they're decent. And he knows where he wants to be, and he would like to be, I think, have a number of gardens for which he was known as having planned and so on and so forth, and perhaps have a team working for him. And that's good aspiration. There is nothing wrong with that sort of aspiration at all. So good for you, Alex. I'll see you in about half an hour, and I look forward to it. What is it? It's 6:57. Yes, we're heading towards 7 o'clock. We got on time this morning. We've been going for 27 minutes. You've been listening to me rabbit on. We better play another piece of music, I think. I'm going to play Dandelion Charm, if I can find them, because we're going to feature Dandelion Charm in a new Music Pro show, which will pilot in August and will actually come out in September on Mirador Television, miradortelevision.com, or on Roku, and soon to be on other streaming organizations, if they call it that, such as Amazon Fire is one, yeah, and Google have one, and I can't find this damn record. Isn't that amazing? It's because I'm flipping up and down. Nowadays, instead of sorting through your records, what you do is, there it is, Birdcage with Dandelion Charm. We've only got a couple of minutes, so we'll play them out, shall we?
Intricate form.